So, Tony, we're looking at global recession. Chips industry kind of beaten up a lot of these companies. Why did the Biden administration move to do this now?
Well, Kathleen, it's I guess you can see it in the larger framework in one sense of the China-U.S. competition. The U.S.'s argument is that China has publicly announced ambitions, especially on AI, and also on chip making, and that it uses these capabilities or plans if one as they come online, these capabilities will be used to surveil the Chinese citizens and build up the Chinese military. And this is something that the administration has to take action against. And of course, it's not it's part of a bigger whatever you want to call it, competition or maybe antagonism between the world's two biggest economies.
How do we see this impacting potentially US-based companies?
Well, U.S.-based companies, after this dropped, for example, we heard from NVIDIA, who said, well, in so many words, that they've already factored this in. But of course, it comes at a sensitive time, as you pointed out at the top, for the entire industry, and with sales under pressure, and then there's an international aspect to it, which is that the Biden administration, if you want to make something like this stick, it would also have to get semiconductor companies in other allied countries to go along with it, because of course the U.S. is not the only country where this manufacture happens, and also not the only country that exports the machines needed to make these high-end chips.
So, Tony, so there are a lot of complications here, but so when you step back and you say, how airtight binding can these restrictions be, given this is an international market, chips, chip-making equipment, one company depends on another. It's a very complicated chain.
Right, that's exactly it, and that was the argument that was taken up by the Chinese Foreign Ministry in their response. They said this will backfire. First of all, it's unfair and illegal under international trade rules, which of course is something that would have to be taken up elsewhere. But China said this will backfire and it'll harm global supply chains and the global economic recovery. And if you parse what the U.S. companies were saying, for example, I mean, there is possibly some overlap there. It's a global industry, and this is something that so the bottom line is it's something that's hard to enforce.